Today we're looking at two common questions in grade 10 trigonometry, which are finding a missing side and finding a missing angle. And we'll find that the steps involved with both are very similar. First of all, I'm given a right triangle with two sides labeled. One is x, one is 7, and an angle given as 40 degrees and one is 90. With any trig question in grade 10, what we want to do is label our sides first. So we take the hypotenuse, which is the longest side, across from the 90 degrees, label H. Using my 40-degree angle here, that's my reference angle given, it's one of the two acute angles, I'm going to label opposite and adjacent. Opposite directly across from the 40-degree angle, and the adjacent side is next to the 40-degree angle, but not the hypotenuse. From this point, if we take a look at our trig functions on our formula sheet, our primary trig ratios, we'll find that each one has a different pair of letters. If we go back to our diagram and cross out the O, it doesn't have anything written beside it. If you notice A and 7, X and H. So we're going to use those two sides, and that eliminates two of the primary trig ratios. The only one that has A and H in is cosine. And the formula for cos is A over H. So now all we're going to do is substitute into this formula. Theta is a Greek letter of the alphabet which represents the reference angle, 40 degrees. A is 7, and X is my hypotenuse, or H. With this type of question, because X is on the denominator, we want to get it into the numerator. So what we're going to do is we're allowed to actually switch these two positions. So I'm going to rewrite my formula with X on the left. 7 remains in the numerator, and the cosine of 40, not just 40, but the cosine of 40 degrees goes in the denominator. Now we're ready to do the rest on our calculator. It should be set into degrees. We have to make sure that's the case. And all we're going to do is punch in 7 divided by cos 40 equals, and the answer we should get, and I'm going to go to 2 decimal places, is 9.13. Next, we'll look at a missing angle question, which is very similar. Like all trig questions, we start by labeling H, O, and A. So the 90-degree angle is there. Hypotenuse has to be directly across. In this case, I'm not given an angle in degrees, but I am given that Greek letter theta, and that determines that the top angle there in my triangle is going to be my reference angle. From there, the opposite side would have to be 5. And the adjacent side next to it, but not the hypotenuse, is 4. Once again, we're going to cross out the letter that has nothing written beside it. O and 5, A and 4. The hypotenuse is the odd person out. We get rid of him, and we go to our trig formula sheet, and we pick out the trig function that has an O and an A in it. And that function is tangent. So therefore, we now substitute in what we know. Theta is left as theta. The opposite side is 5. The adjacent side is 4. Now when solving for an angle using your calculator, there's different calculators out there, and you may have to punch this in a couple different ways. On my calculator, I'm going to hit the second function button and then tangent. And what that does is it activates the inverse of tangent, which allows me to find the angle. I'm going to use my brackets and put 5 divided by 4 inside those brackets, and finally press equals. And the calculator will give me the answer for the angle that's missing, which in this case is theta, and that should come out to 51.3 degrees. Now, when you're activating the inverse function on your calculator, some of you may not have second function. You may have inverse or shift button. And for those of you that always have to put the angle in first when doing your ratio, you may have to work backwards here. You might have to press 5 divided by 4 equals, get it written as a decimal, then hit your second function tangent. But no matter which way you do it, 51.3 degrees should be your answer. And that's it.